Hello, welcome to the Get Started Business Plan template. This is part 1, where we'll be covering sections 1 to 5. Part 2 will cover sections 6 to 10. So that's it, there's only 10 parts to this business plan. First page is all about your contact details. This is vitally important, particularly if we're using this for a loan application, so that if the team looking at your loan need to get hold of you quick, they've got a quick reference point for you. Next page just gives us the content, so we're going to cover sections 1 through to 5 on this session, and then 6 to 10 on part 2. So we start with the first one, introduction. So the very first thing you need to do is put a summary together. This is a quick overview of what it is that you're doing. What is the business? What are you selling? It only needs to be short. We only need a couple of paragraphs. Sometimes it's easier to write this at the end after you've written the whole plan, because putting a summary together at that point is usually easier. It doesn't matter when you do it really, we just need a quick overview of your business. Then we need a start date. So that's partly a goal for you, so you know how long you've got to prepare and get ready to launch the business, and it helps us prioritise. Next, we've got legal structure of the company, so thinking about how you're going to set up the business. Sole trader is what most of us refer to as self-employed, and that can be done simply by registering with HMRC online, HMRC being part of Gov UK. The other most popular option is limited company. That version requires you to register with Companies House as well as HMRC, so it's a little bit more complicated. But there's different reasons people choose different types of businesses. So to find out more, have a look on Gov UK, and that'll give you more details about the different types and what they mean. Section 2. Business background and key personnel. So what have you done before? What skills have you got? And who's involved? So the first part, skills and experience. And we've also got CV. CV is mentioned because often loan partners might require a separate CV, so a full up-to-date CV covering all your work experience. Whereas this section in our plan is more about giving detail of the roles you've undertaken and what responsibilities you had, and linking those to running the business that you're starting. So it might be that in a previous role you've been a finance bod or an administrator, and you can explain how those skills from the work you've done before are going to help you run this business and where they'll come into play. So we're just talking about what we've done in that section. Key people is who's involved. So is it you on your own, or is it you with other people? And are those people going to be paid employees, or are they volunteers? Have you managed to persuade members of your family to help you out while you get going? So in this part, we just need to explain who's doing what, who's going to be responsible for what. And partly we're talking about all the different bits and pieces that are involved in running the business, so that the reader understands you know the business and you know what you're going to have to be doing day to day. So under key people and responsibilities, you want to talk about how the business will run and who'll be doing what. Section 3, organisational aims and objectives. We start with a vision, so a quick overview of where you see the business going. So do you want a nice, neat business that's just for you to earn a living and you're happy with that? Or do you want something that will grow and perhaps take on employees? Or do you want something that will be bigger and maybe have additional branches or additional shops, depending on what kind of thing you're doing? Or do you want global domination? So the vision is your chance to say where you want it to go in the long run. The next part of this is quality. We've got quality and quantity. So we're thinking about numbers and detail in relation to the business. And next to that, we've got objectives for the first year, second year, third year, or fifth year. And it's about showing how you see it progressing. So it might be that within the numbers section, the quality and quantity, we suggest how much money you want for turnover. So our example says 20k, 20,000 turnover. So it might be that you say, well, 20,000 for year 1, 30,000 for year 2, 40,000 for year 3. But it's talking about how that will progress. So relating it back to how many sales a day you might be making, talking about what it is you're selling. So if you're selling t-shirts, how much do you buy them in for? What can you sell them for? Thinking about how much it's going to cost if you've got premises, what that might involve. So it's starting to put numbers together. We do a separate spreadsheet to go into the detail of those numbers, but this is starting to get you thinking about them and what they look like. Section 4 is all about the product itself or the service features. So the very first part of that is explaining what it is you're actually selling. And that sounds a bit daft, but sometimes you know it so well you forget to explain it. So if you're selling sheds, do you make those sheds? Are they handmade? Are they bespoke? Do people order them? Do you go and measure up and see where they want it in the garden and work out how it'll fit? It's just the detail of it. So what is it that you're actually selling? So are you selling a product? Are you selling a service? Is it a mix of all of that? Next section is about purchase pattern and benefits. So this is thinking about, will you have regular customers, or is what you're selling just something that somebody buys once in a lifetime or once in a blue moon? So our example there, we've got sandwiches or sofas. So if you've got a sandwich shop, you would hope that if you've picked a good spot, you might have regular people popping in for their breakfast butty or the lunchtime snack. Whereas if you sell sofas, possibly you might only see those people once. So this again is relating back to numbers and getting you to think about, how do those customers relate back to your business? I hope that makes sense. So purchase pattern and benefits. So with benefits, we're thinking about what is it that you're offering that might be better or different or more interesting. So we could mention that here. New or additional products is what comes next. So if we think about sandwiches again, are you going to have a special sandwich each week, or are you going to invent new recipes, or are you going to get your customers to make suggestions? If you're selling sofas, would it be that you might think about selling rugs or selling lampshades or additional items that link to what you're selling? So that's thinking about what comes next. And it might be that you think, I'd like to do that eventually, but I can't do it straight away because it'll cost too much money, or I'll need bigger premises, or maybe I'll need staff. So it's demonstrating that you've thought what happens next, but you also know you can't do it straight away because. So we would talk about the because. Then we've got supplier research. So this is us thinking about, where are you going to get your stock from if you're selling items, physical items? But it might also be, even if you're selling a service, suppliers might be involved in that. You might think about internet providers if you're doing online services, for example. Your supplier might be thinking about who is the best internet provider for what you're doing, or do you need office space? So everyone's got suppliers one way or another. We just need to think logically about who they are and what that might look like. Unique selling point, or USP, is thinking about what is it that makes you different or better or more interesting? Why would people choose you? And that can be anything. It might be about you. It might be your personality that they like that you talk to them. It might be about a specialist product that nobody else has. You might have a unique item. It might be that it's bespoke. It might be that you're local. It's just helping you to think about what's different, what's better, and that in itself will help you sell or tell people about your product or service. Section 5, so this is our last section on this session, is all about market research. And this bit's vital. Understanding who your customers are and what they look like will help you find them and tell them that you exist. So thinking about the customers is thinking about, are there specific types of people that will buy what you're selling? Is there an ideal age range or background? Are they working people? Are they business people? Are they ladies? Are they men? Are they young, old? Anything that helps you distinguish and helps you work out where you might find those customers to tell them about what you're selling. So we've got market research, and what we mention in this part is different types of customers. So if you were, for example, painter and decorator, your customer groups might be hotels, and what they want is work doing out of season, possibly, quickly, neat and tidy. Or it might be private property owners, or as a painter and decorator, it might be that you have schools as a customer. It's thinking about all the different types of people that you can sell your product or service to, thinking about what they want, if it's different, how you know, so is it about your experience or the research you've done, and how often will they buy from you? So we're starting to paint a picture. We've also got trends in the market, so this is mostly about statistics that helps back up what you're saying and prove what you're thinking. And then the last part of section 5 is all about competitors. Who's out there and what are they doing? And this is us saying, go and do a bit of digging. Have a rummage round. Have they got a website? Do they answer the phone? Are they nice on the phone? Anything you can find out about them helps you work out where you fit in and what you might be able to do better or what you might be able to add on. So all this research seems hard work, but it's worthwhile. Now what we have mentioned in here is COBRA. So COBRA stands for Complete Business Reference Advisor, and you can access it via Blackpool Library online services. You'll need a library card number to get into the system, but once you're in, there's lots of useful information on there, and Jeff has done a little session explaining how COBRA works and what you can do, so that might be worth looking at. So we'll leave that for now. We've done the first 5 sections. I hope that makes sense, but feel free to ring or email and get in touch if you want to ask more questions. That's what we're here for. Okay, thank you for now, and I'll see you in part 2.